Top 10 Best New England Patriots of All Time. If you're a football fan, then you know that the New England Patriots are one of the most beloved teams in all of professional sports. Even if you don't follow the NFL, it's hard to argue against the fact that the Patriots have been one of the most successful franchises in all of professional football over the last few years. The following is a list of the top 10 best New England Patriots players of all time. These are really only 10 players from this era that could be considered locks to be on any top 10 list, as some of their other players could also easily make this list as well. If you're a fan of this team or just a fan of football in general, then you'll definitely want to watch through this list and check out some of these great athletes. Before we get to the list of the top 10 best New England Patriots players of all time, let's take a quick look at a trivia question. Which of these commercials are the highest paid for during the Super Bowl? A. Amazon Alexa, B. Budweiser, C. Doritos. Hang in there for the answer to this football trivia, and feel free to put your answer in the comments. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. And here we go. 10. Tai Law. Tai Law was a very good cornerback for the Patriots, and he is also a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. He ended up playing for the New England Patriots from 1995 to 2004, and in that time span, he played in 147 games, including 141 starts. He ended up recording 699 tackles, 33 interceptions, and 2 sacks. He was pretty amazing at the cornerback position, and when he retired from football, he was the 10th best cornerback of all time. 9. Andre Tippett. Andre Tippett had an amazing career with the Patriots as a linebacker, and he is one of their greatest players of all time. He played his entire career with the New England Patriots, and during that time span, he played in 192 games, including 182 starts. He ended up recording 1,281 tackles, 73.5 sacks, and 14 interceptions. He was a defensive force, and he helped lead the Patriots to many great seasons in his time there. 8. Deion Branch. Deion Branch is one of the best wide receivers in the history of the New England Patriots, and he did have a few good seasons with them before he left for Seattle. He ended up playing for the team from 2002 to 2011, and during that time span, he played in 125 games, including 108 starts. He ended up recording 724 receptions for 9,685 yards and 54 touchdowns. Branch was a very productive player for the Patriots, and he's also known for catching a pass in the Super Bowl that was a very close call. 7. Willie McGinest. Willie McGinest was a great player for the Patriots, and he is one of the best linebackers in their history. He played for the team from 1994 to 2006, and during that time span, he played in 180 games, including 161 starts. He ended up recording 1,081 tackles, 54 sacks, and 8 interceptions. He was a very good pass rusher, and he became an important part of New England's defense during his time there. 6. O.J. McDuffie. O.J. McDuffie is one of the greatest wide receivers in the history of the New England Patriots, and he did have a couple of great seasons with them. He ended up playing for the team from 2000 to 2006, and during that time span, he played in 88 games, including 87 starts. He ended up recording 302 receptions for 3,724 yards and 16 touchdowns. He was a very productive player as a wide receiver, and he helped lead the Patriots to a few great seasons in his time there. 5. Vince Wilfork. Vince Wilfork is another great player in the history of the New England Patriots, and he played very well for them when he was their starting nose tackle. He ended up playing for the team from 2004 to 2015, and during that time span, he played in 186 games, including 175 starts. He ended up recording 575 tackles, 20.5 sacks, and 9 interceptions. He was an important part of New England's defense, and he helped lead the Patriots to a few Super Bowl appearances. 4. Steve Grogan. Steve Grogan is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the New England Patriots, and he did have a couple of great seasons with them. He ended up playing for the team from 1973 to 1985, and during that time span, he played in 149 games, including 133 starts. He ended up recording 6,350 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, and 55 interceptions. He was not a very good passer, but he did help lead the Patriots to a few great seasons in his time there. 3. Steve Nelson. Steve Nelson is one of the greatest defenders in the history of the Patriots, and he was a good player for them. He ended up playing for the team from 1963 to 1973, and during that time span, he played in 174 games, including 164 starts. He ended up recording 595 tackles, 10 sacks, and 8 interceptions. Nelson was a very good linebacker in his time with the Patriots, and he is one of their best players ever. 2. John Hannah. John Hannah is one of the greatest offensive linemen in the history of the New England Patriots, and he was a great player for them. He played his entire career with the Patriots, and during that time span, he played in 194 games, including 184 starts. He ended up recording 523 tackles, 24.5 sacks, and 14 interceptions. Hannah was an amazing guard who was also a very good pass blocker for New England during his time there. Before we get to number 1, let's take a look back at the trivia question from earlier. Which of these commercials are the highest paid for during the Super Bowl since 2010? A. Amazon Alexa, B. Budweiser, C. Doritos. The answer is A. Amazon Alexa is the highest paid for during the Super Bowl since 2010. The first ever commercial made by Amazon for Alexa aired during the Super Bowl in 2020, and since then, all of Amazon's Super Bowl commercials have been for Alexa. It costs $16.8 million for the 90 seconds commercial. Now let's get back to our list of the top 10 best New England Patriots players of all time. 1. Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest player in the history of the New England Patriots, and he has played for them since 2000. He is also one of the best and most accomplished quarterbacks in NFL history. Brady ended up playing for the Patriots from 2000 to 2016, and during that time span, he played in 225 games, including 222 starts. He ended up passing for 60,226 yards, 456 touchdowns, and 228 interceptions. Brady is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and he has helped lead the Patriots to many Super Bowl appearances in his time there. He may also be one of the most controversial players in NFL history because of his alleged involvement in the Deflategate scandal. The Patriots were accused of secretly deflating footballs in the AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts, and Brady was suspended for 4 games. While he is still competing on the field during his suspension, Brady's reputation has taken a hit because of his alleged involvement. That does it for Top 10 Best New England Patriots of All Time. We hope you liked it. Agree or disagree, feel free to leave a comment below. Also, be sure to subscribe, comment, and like this clip. We put out videos several times a week, so ring that bell to be notified when we post new content. Thanks for watching.